Alright guys, so we are still in the Illustrator Basics portion of the course, and on your folder download you should have Illustrator Basics folder with logos in them. Now I have a bunch of logos in here that I found online that I thought were really nicely done. Some are really clever, so I just kind of want to use that as an inspiration to kind of show you guys how you can create these things on Illustrator. So right now I want to really talk about text. So why don't I bring this file in here? It's a JPEG, and open it up in Illustrator. And this one is called Killed Production. You get it? This guy is lying down, killed. Okay. Anyway, hopefully that was a little bit of a chuckle. Anyhow, let's actually recreate this. I'm going to just pull this on the side, and then let's create it. Now I don't know exactly which font it was used, so I'm just going to take a guess, but this will be a good introduction to kind of text and then customizing text and how to do that. So first I'm going to go ahead and type killed in lowercase letter, I guess, and right now I'm using Myriad Pro, and actually it seems like it was Myriad Pro. Alright, well let's just go with it. So you have this thing killed, but of course the eyes flip down, and there's some spacing issues here. So the thing is that for Illustrator, it knows that this is a text. So I'm going to make a copy of this actually. So if I want to edit this text, I can't edit it except to write more stuff. I could make it taller, I could make it a different color, blah blah blah, but I can't really flip this eye down, because that's not how a letter I looks like. That's not what a letter I looks like. So what I have to do is tell Illustrator that this item here, which I made a copy of, you are no longer a text, but a series of shape. Very similar to if I drew, with a rectangle, the two L's and then the D's. I take that shape, and then I take a round shape, whatever, and then combine them together to create the letter D, right? These are shapes. That's not a letter D. So that's what I'm going to do now, is to take the text and tell Illustrator that you are now a shape. And that's pretty easy to do. You just select it, and you can right click and go to Create Outline. And what I'll do now is here, I'm going to ungroup it, right click. So you can see this one is like it looks like that, but it behaves much differently. Like if I select this, it just selects the whole thing. But if I select this with my white arrow, I have all of these handles like if I had drawn these things in, which is nice because now, oops, I could actually edit the shape of this thing, right? So now that I've broken it up, and now I tell Illustrator that it's a shape, bring it back in here, I could actually now take these guys and spread them apart. And it seems like I'm going to keep this thing intact, so I'm just going to right click it and group it. Can I group it? Why wouldn't it let me group? Object, group. Okay. So now they move together, right? This guy, oh, that's good. So the dot and the rectangle was grouped, so which is good. So now I just gotta kill it, drop it down like that, and maybe this guy comes closer. So there you go. You have, and then let's make it gray and put a black background and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna actually just double click on this one because it's still a font, and then Cap Productions. Make it really small, and I'm holding down Shift when I reduce the text, because if you don't, then you might mess up what we call the aspect ratio, meaning, okay, so here's that. But if you don't hold it, then you can stretch it like this, and you can get some really funky, weird looking text, unless that's what you want. And then select all of these and globally just change that to a gray with no outline. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to delete that and then get a rectangle box, black and white, and of course I'm going to arrange that and go center back. So there you go. So that's kind of your first introduction to text and how to edit and modify text into an artwork. And hopefully you've seen that happen, so you can probably tell how a lot of these might have been done. Let me actually randomly pick out another one. What is this? Code fish. Oh, that one's, oh, there's nothing to do there except for just find the right text, to do that. So forget that. But you can definitely do that. I think it'll be fun for you guys to try. Let's try that. Okay. So this one's a little bit interesting because you have this thing bird, which is kind of like almost two circles that are okay. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, guys. We don't need it. So I'm going to just take this font here. I'm going to double click in here and type IRD for bird. Oop. Lowercase. And yeah, I think that font looks pretty decent. This one's super, at least for me, when I look at it, it seems it's going to be super easy. I'm just going to take that and one that's slightly bigger. Yep. Combine them. And then make a copy of it, bring it down. Maybe make that a little bigger. Something like that. And since this bigger shape is on top, I can just subtract it, and so then I have that. Okay, I mean, it's not exact. It's pretty close. Maybe. Oops. Alright, so there you go. So you got that font, bird. Yeah. So the challenge would be, well, I'm actually going to do one more. I'm going to do this one because it's actually a little bit more complex. But the challenge would be for you guys to go through all of these and see, what you guys can do, and just go back and go ahead and mimic all of these things. I think this one's going to be pretty tough. Again, like most of my classes, I'm not going to force you guys to do anything. I would hope that you guys want to learn the stuff and become really proficient at it. Actually, this is no joke. This is actually going to be pretty tough to do. Some of them is going to be pretty tough to do, but it'll be interesting to see if you guys can take on the challenge and do all of these things and how to mimic them. Of course, you can take this and then trace it, right? Illustrator has that ability, so I want you to know that you guys do have the ability to use the quote-unquote cheat code, but stay true and see if you guys can trace and draw something like this. This is pretty easy, actually. You just draw this and then you do a gradient and then you do a pattern, rotate, and done. Alright, let me see here. But the Apple logo, let's go and bring this Apple logo in here. So this one, the tracing on this one is actually kind of tricky. Actually, it used to be tricky, but probably not as much. Yeah, this is probably a good segue into kind of teaching you more of this pen tool. Let me see, how do I want to do this? I think because this is symmetrical, I'm probably going to do half the apple and then flip it. So let's go from here, click. And then you'll see my first go around, I'm not going to like really try to be perfect. I'm just simply going to get the trace to be close. Right, so whatever. So it's not perfect, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to flip it so that it's just outlined. And then at this point is when I'm going to come back in with my white arrow and really try to finesse this thing. Oh, hold on, let me put another layer, select that and move it up, lock that layer. Alright, so this is where I'm going to try to come in and try to finesse this thing and trying to get it as close to the original intent of your sketch. Let's say if you're designing this Apple logo from scratch and you put it in a sketch, and then you know, now you're trying to bring it into Illustrator to kind of edit it. You can see the Bezier curve, it kind of does get affected on both sides. All right. I'm not going to get too anal here, but good. Oop. Pull. This one should be straight, my handles, and wider. Alright, so that's not too bad, and then I'm kind of sort of cheating, but you know, I'm going to take this rectangle tool and then use that to smash like that. So now I have half of that apple, which now I could reflect. Yep, copy. Hold down shift so I can keep it straight. There we go. And combine. So now I have this apple. This is actually pretty easy. Oh, it's a little bump there, but ignore it. I'm not going to fix it. Oh, and by the way, if I want to reposition before I let go, I just hold down the space bar, which allows me to move the circle around. And let it go. There we go. So then I can take that chunk out of there. This one is going to be probably the easiest way to do it would be kind of a circle and then Alt, kind of like that. And what I want is the intersection, so I can come here and hit that, and then I have that. And now I need to put stripes on this thing. It was actually a lot harder to do in the past, but now I think Illustrator has gotten a lot better, so I think I can kind of cheat and do this. Do that. And that. And I'm going to take all of these guys here, and I'm going to divide. So once I divide, and then I ungroup, I should be able to take that shape and get rid of that. Get rid of that. So these are all, you see how they're separated? So then now I can color these things green, yellow, and blah, blah, blah. So let's actually try to take advantage of the colors here. So I can just double click. I don't have anything selected. Oop. I have my foreground. I can take my color sample and click this green. So then now I can select that and that to be that green. Alright, and you can't tell now, but it's actually green. So I can take this one, and I can also say be that green. Then I'm gonna, now I have nothing selected again. I'm gonna go to my eyedropper tool, pick this yellow. So now it's loaded down here. I can pick this shape and load that to be that yellow, and then so on and so on. Pick this orange, and now pick this shape. Pick the foreground to be orange. Deselect. Pick this red. Pick this shape. Pick that red. Again, just in case you don't know what I'm doing, because the colors, it's almost well, it is perfect, so it looks a little bit. You may not know that something's actually happening. This purple, and then now pick this shape that is nothing, and then say fill that with purple. Oop, nope. The blue. Pick this blue. So there you go. Now you have a clean vectorized Apple logo. That little bump is bothering me a little bit, but whatever. So there's that. Go ahead and group everything so it's all one piece. Now you can make it super small. Oh. Alright guys, I'm back. But anyway, now I have a cool little Apple, old school Apple logo that you can use as a letterhead if you are designing this for, you know, well, obviously can't use that because Apple logo is trademarked. I'm going to turn off the stroke. But anyhow, so that's how you do that. And there's another thing too. Hey, I believe there are websites, and I believe you can even go to Adobe Stock. So if you took the time and vectorized a lot of these logos and things like that, I think you can upload them and sell them, you know, for like 20-30 cents each time somebody downloads it, which could turn into a good amount of money, guys. Anyway, let me see. So there's that. And let me unlock this thing here. I'm actually quite surprised how good this turned out. Before I lose this, I'll save this and I'll upload it to the drive. Logo basic. Just name it demo. Alright, so let's kind of get into text, and then, oh, actually, we're going in about 17 minutes. You know what? I'm going to give you guys a break. I'll see you on the next video.